Contracting has become really, really popular in the last couple of years for IT professionals in Ireland. I guess the main point is money. Contractors typically get paid 25 to 30% more than their permanent counterparts. Secondly, you get a lot of flexibility. You're not going to be working on the same project for like sort of 5-10 years. Typically contractors will go in, they'll finish an assignment, they'll deliver it, and they'll move on to their next one. So they're not doing sort of BAU work, which is also a big factor. A lot of our contractors have a pretty interesting lives. You know, they'll do a 12-month contract, might go traveling for 3 months. People, a guy that likes to go scuba diving, another one that likes to go back to India and visit his family. So it gives a lot more flexibility from that perspective. And I guess the other point is that you are able to claim business expenses and manage your own financial wealth long term.
To get set up as a contractor within Ireland, what you'd have to do is set up your own limited company. There are a couple of ways that you can go about doing this. You can either get insured by yourself, or you can go through one of our contracting partners who would help you set up an umbrella company. The reason to choose Sigma Recruitment is because we'll help organise your interview processes in helping look for your next contract position. Once you do have your next contract position secured through Sigma, we'll also help organise your payments and invoicing, and we do actually have some great payment terms as well. So all of your invoices, once we receive them, will be paid within 5 days.
We're one of the largest brands in the Irish market. We have access to lots of different unique roles, and our goal is to get contractors the best rate possible and pay them as quick as possible and keep them in work for as long as possible. Interview processes for contractors tend to be more streamlined than for that of their permanent counterparts. Particularly in the IT world, they're looking more at your skills and previous experience. So they'll be much more technical, focusing on the deliverables for the job, and tend to be less around HR and how you would interact with teams and your long-term career aspirations, because you're there to do a specific job and to play a role in a project.
Contractors are normally expected to work the same hours as permanent employees. However, this can change from company to company, so it's always a good idea to check with your client.
We're finding that most companies are working with a hybrid model at the moment, with a return to office being the focus this year. Some companies allow contractors to work outside of Ireland, but that depends on the industry that they're working in and the tax implications of the company that they want to reside in.
Most companies expect contractors to have their own equipment, but this can vary depending on the company. So it's worth clarifying beforehand and before signing the contract. But if you need to use your own equipment, you can generally claim it as a business expense.
So as a contractor, there's a lot of different expenses you can claim. And the important thing is to check at the beginning when you're signing the contract, because each contract for services will be different. Legitimate expenses are ones that are required to carry out the duties of your job. For example, if you're a field technician who's out repairing computers for clients, you'll be able to expense your diesel, your parking. However, if you're a software engineer who works at home in his bedroom, you won't be able to expense mileage. You know, if you're working from home, there are other stuff you can claim. For example, you can get your home office equipment, you can get your company laptop, you can actually get part of your broadband paid for, also your heating bill as well. Our advice is, if you're not sure if expenses are legitimate or you feel it's a little bit of a grey area, check in with your umbrella account manager or check in with your accountant directly. The last thing you want to do is upset revenue. In terms of how contractors get paid, there's a couple of steps that need to be followed. I guess the first one is we need to have proof that you've worked the hours that you say you have with the client, which is typically done with the timesheet. This can be done using the client's online system, or it can be done via email, or you can even print off a timesheet and get it signed. Once we have the timesheet, the next step would be to send in an invoice for your work, which is typically done by your umbrella company or accountant. This would be just a simple form on company-headed paper with your company details on it and the invoice amount with VAT, and also your bank account details in your company name. So once we receive the invoice, we check it against the timesheets. If they both match up, we'll make the payment. Sigmar's terms are some of the best in the industry. We'll pay invoices within 5 days, and if there are any issues, we'll let you know quickly. But Sigmar's aim is to get contractors paid as quick as possible. One thing we actually do is we'll pay you before the end client pays us. And to do that, we make sure all our clients are vetted and background checked and credit checked. So we take the risk essentially, so you don't have to and can get paid quicker.
The likelihood of a contract being extended depends on the specific project. Some IT contractors are embedded in teams like permanent employees, and they're offered rate increases and more senior positions along the way. Like in other cases, they're brought in for more specific projects to help with a temporary increase in demand and to roll out new technologies.
It depends on the client. Typically for a long-term contract, it's 4 weeks notice, but it depends, as I said, on the client and on the contract, so it's definitely worth paying attention to before signing a contract.